Welcome back to the Deeper 2025 podcast. I'm excited that you have joined us today as we walk through the Word of God together, and we're just trying to see how it applies to our life. I haven't said this in quite a while, but if you would like this video, if you'd share this video on your social media, we want to help out as many people as we can. Today we get to Mark chapter 9, and in Mark chapter 9, it really is a chapter that is full of contrasts. It is full of mountaintop experiences and valley experiences for Jesus' people. And we start the chapter with the Transfiguration, which is Jesus taking Peter, James, and John up the mountain, and he is transfigured, or he is shown in glory with Moses and Elijah there on the mountain. And, Peter, James, and John are amazed. It was a powerful moment in their life. And then it wasn't too far down the chapter that they come back down the mountain and they walk straight into chaos. I mean, if you read Mark 9, they walk straight into chaos. There's a crowd, there's arguments, there's a father that's desperate because he has a demon-possessed son. And I like what it says in Mark 9, verses 22 to 24. The father says this, "But if you can do anything, Jesus, have compassion on us and help us." And Jesus said to him, "If you can, everything is possible for the one who believes." And immediately the father of the boy cried out, "I do believe, help my unbelief." I love that prayer. I love that declaration of the father. I do believe, help my unbelief. Do you ever get to a point in your life where you're just like, I just don't know if I can believe anymore? I think that's exactly where this father was. He says, I believe, but help my unbelief. In any area of my life where I don't believe, I want you to help my unbelief. And I think that's a great prayer for us. And so I think just a couple of things I see in Mark chapter 9, mountaintop moments in our life are meant to give us the strength to walk through the valleys. You know, if you go to a mountain range today and you look out, where does the growth happen? Does the growth happen on the top of the mountain? Typically, no. Typically, the growth moments happen in the valley. But in the Christian life, the mountaintop moments are those things that are going to carry you through the valleys. They're going to be the things you can look back on when life gets chaotic and say, but look what experience I had with God back on the mountain. And so just know that you can't always live on the mountain. You're going to go through life just like they did in Mark 9, and you're going to have mountaintop moments that are going to just descend right into chaos, and you're going to be in the valley for a bit. And some of you are asking right now, man, I've been in a valley a long time. When am I going to have a mountaintop experience again? And I can't answer that for you. I'm just saying that when you do have those mountaintop moments, then you've just got to know that they're meant to strengthen and encourage you to get through the valleys. And I believe that you'll enjoy the mountaintop moments more because you have walked through the valleys. If you haven't walked through the hard times and the chaos of life, then when you get to that mountaintop moment, then you're not going to really understand the value of what you have there. But I think another thing is we've got to bring our honesty to God. In these verses that I read, the Father says, I do believe, help my unbelief. We've just got to be honest with God. Jesus isn't offended by our doubts. He isn't offended by our unbelief. As long as we're searching and seeking Him, He's not offended by those things. And so bring our honesty to Him. Even if it's messy, even if it's weird, even if it's awkward, we've got to bring our honesty to Him. And then we have to rely on His power and His strength. And how do we do that? Well, I think a lot of it comes from communication with Him. It comes from us praying, us spending time with God, so that when we do feel powerless, we know we can rely on Him in those moments. Another thing, though, you get to the end of Mark chapter 9, really kind of the middle end, and you see that there's this question, and the disciples are arguing about who's the greatest. Jesus, who's the greatest among us? And Jesus redefines what greatness looks like in those verses. In verses 33 through 37, this whole argument's happening, and He redefines what happens there. He says, the greatest of you will be the least. In other words, the one who serves the most is the one who will be elevated in my kingdom, not the one who has position or authority or sits at my right hand. And so we've got to remember that we're to pursue humility, we're to pursue service, we're to pursue putting our others before ourselves over status and power and influence. And I think the last thing we see is in Mark 9 is Jesus is dealing with sin, and he reminds us that we've got to deal with sin seriously, that sin is serious business, that sin has no place in our life because we're believers, and we just can't shake it off and just act like it's not a big deal, that we've got to deal seriously with it. We've got to take the call to be holy seriously and not casually. And so for us, there's a lot packed into Mark chapter 9. There's mountaintops, there's valleys, there's all in between. And that's exactly how your life's going to look. You're going to have these mountaintop moments. You're going to have these chaotic valley moments. But all of those things are meant to make us look more and more like Jesus as we walk through this life. So do that today. Wherever you find yourself, mountaintop or valley, in the middle of two, just know that Jesus wants a relationship with you and he wants to spend time with you today. And so do it because he's using all these things to mold you into his image.